Where's Asher? Mama, do you know where Asher is? Oh, is he missing it again? Actually, he's always missing it, isn't he? Oh! Did you know that? Oh, okay. Welcome to Kids Church. We hope you enjoyed the last week of Gross, and now we've got a new week of Gross. New week. And we're going to find out a gross Bible story today. Isn't that right, Jemima? Sorry, she's not very talkative today. You meant to say yes. Okay, fine, I'll say it for her. Jemima says yes. Oh, Kids Church, my name's Jerome. Right, you may be asking, why am I shouting so much? Got a bit of a bad voice, and for some reason it hurts to whisper. Yeah, a bit weird that. It normally hurts to shout, but I can only... Where's that monkey in Kids Church? Hello there, monkey. What's that? Name's Jemima. Oh, pleasure to meet you, Jemima. Oh, well, and a pleasure to meet you too. And pleasure to meet you, children at Kids Church. Today I'm going to read some gross facts to you. Are you ready? I take that as a yes. Fact number 1. An elephant produces enough poop in just 7 hours. 7 hours? That's longer than a school day. Whoa. And it weighs more than a full-grown man. Ew! Come on, over. Isn't that gross, Jemima? Yeah, that's what I thought. Number 2. The average human farts 14 times a day. I fart 25 times a day. I count. Right. Number 3. The fart bubble of a whale, not a horse. Sorry about that. Misunderstanding when I'm reading. It was a whale, not a horse. Don't think it's a horse. The fart bubble of a whale is so large a horse could fit inside it comfortably. That is gross. Number 4. Did we just do number 4? No, we did number 4. Lobsters pee out of their face. Okay. Number 5. It's impossible to lick your own elbow. Well, even if it wasn't impossible, I wouldn't like to lick my own elbow. I don't think you should be licking elbows, even though it's impossible. Don't even try it. Bye!
So, hello everybody, it's me, Colleen, and welcome back to week 2 of the Gross series. That's right, we are on week 2. And did you enjoy all of those gross facts that Noah told us? They were gross, really gross. And there were so many more. So if you know any gross facts, then make sure you let us know, because honestly, I found them so interesting. Anyway, it is time to move on to this week's story. Now, actually, this week's story continues off the back of last week's story. So last week we talked about Jonah and about how he was swallowed up by this giant fish and how he was inside this gross fish inside his belly for 3 days. He was covered in fish guts. He would have been stinking, and then after 3 days, the fish just went bleh, and basically spewed him up. He spewed him up. So Jonah was covered in slimy, gooey, disgusting fish guts and sick. Now, anyway, Jonah went to Nineveh. He told the people of Nineveh that you guys need to change your life. You are messing up. You're making tons of mistakes. And they listened. Now, after this, Jonah went up onto a hillside just to kind of chill out and also to look over Nineveh to see what was happening. And basically, Jonah became angry, like really angry. Let's watch this video and find out what happens next.
I knew you would act like this, Jonah fussed at God. That's why I tried to run away to Tarshish. You're a loving and merciful God. You are patient and kind. I knew you would not destroy these terrible people. Just go ahead and kill me. Jonah shouted. It would be better if I died, since nothing I predicted is going to happen. The Lord answered Jonah, Is it right for you to be angry like this? Maybe something will happen to Nineveh after all, Jonah thought. He decided to walk out where he could look down on the city and watch. It was very hot up on the hillside. Jonah made a little shelter with tree branches to protect himself from the sun. Then he sat down and waited. Then the most unusual thing began to happen. God made a vine with big green leaves to grow beside Jonah's shelter. Jonah stared at the plant. He had never seen anything like it. He had never seen anything grow up so fast. Up and up and up it went. The stem grew longer and thicker. Big leaves appeared and uncurled one after the other. The vine climbed all over Jonah's little shelter. It made a wonderfully shady place to sit. Jonah smiled to himself. It was nice not to be baking in the sun. He was very pleased with the plant. Jonah spent the whole night in his little shelter. Early the next morning, God prepared a worm that ate right through the stem of Jonah's plant. Of course, the plant died and it shriveled up. It could no longer protect Jonah from the sun's rays. The day got hotter and hotter, and God sent a scorching wind to blow on Jonah. The wind blew and blew, and the sun beat down. Jonah was miserable and angry. "It would be better to die than to endure this," he exclaimed. Then God spoke to Jonah. "Is it right for you to be angry because the plant died?" "Yes," Jonah shouted. "You feel sorry about the vine, but you did nothing to make it grow, and a plant doesn't live very long anyway," God said. "Nineveh has many people living there, plus all the animals. I made them all, and I love them. Don't I have more reason to feel sorry for them than you do to feel sorry for the vine that died?" Jonah was confused. He didn't understand why God spared the people of Nineveh.
Today's story doesn't involve a fish, but it involves a worm. That is right, a worm. Now, I have some interesting facts for you about worms, and actually you may think that they are also a little bit gross. So worms, are you ready for this? Breathe through their skin. They don't have lungs, so they just breathe out of their skin. That's gross. Worms won't be able to move if they spend too much time in the sun. So if the sun shines down on a worm for too long, they basically become paralyzed and they can't move. So weird. Worms have 5 hearts. I mean, I've got one, they've got 5, and they're tiny. How tiny are these hearts? They must have the tiniest hearts inside their body. Worms are hairy. They have hair all over them. That's gross. And worms can live for 2 to 8 years. That's a really, really, really long time for a tiny worm with 5 hearts that's covered in hair. Anyway, Jonah didn't want the people of Nineveh to change. He was angry with them and he wanted God to basically get rid of them. And this made Jonah really, really angry. He was on this hill and he was annoyed and he was angry at God because he didn't destroy them. He was angry with God for not taking them away and getting rid of them. And he sat up on this hill just getting angrier and angrier and angrier. And he finally cried out to God and said, Why are you not getting rid of them? And God spoke back to him. Anyway, Jonah thought that maybe this was the sign that he needed, that God was actually going to do something. So Jonah sat down and made himself comfy. He was waiting for God to come and basically destroy all the people in Nineveh. But it got hotter and hotter and hotter. And what actually happened was, as he was waiting on this hill, this tree started to grow. These branches started to appear, these leaves grew over him, and he had the perfect spot to sit in the shade. He was in the perfect place to get shade, and he thought, you know what, this is brilliant. Anyway, he carried on waiting, and he carried on waiting, and he fell asleep. But when he woke up the next morning, the tree had gone. All the leaves had gone. All the plants had gone. And this tiny worm that was hairy, that had 5 hearts, that breathes out of its skin, that can live for 2 to 8 years, had eaten the whole thing. This made Jonah so angry. So angry. He was so angry that this worm had come and eaten everything. And now he had to sit in this horrible heat, and it just made him even more angry. Jonah was not in a good place. He was miserable. He was so miserable. Anyway, God spoke to Jonah and said, you didn't make the plant. You didn't even take the plant away. So why are you getting angry about it? Just like you didn't make the people of Nineveh. I made them. You see, Hero Factory, Jonah was angry with the people of Nineveh because they had messed up and made mistakes. And he thought that God should have just got rid of them. But actually, God doesn't work like that. God made the worm, he made the tree, but he also made the people of Nineveh. And he loved the people of Nineveh. So when they changed their ways and decided to say sorry for the things that they had done wrong, God forgave them. He forgave them. He loved them and he forgave them. Now, you know, sometimes it's hard for us to forgive people. And we can see here how Jonah didn't want to forgive them. And he was actually really angry with them. And you know, there's been times in my life when people have been horrible to me, especially when I was at school, when I was your age, and people were so nasty to me. And I remember thinking that I can't forgive them. But God actually tells us in the Bible that he wants us to forgive people. In Ephesians 4 verse 32, it says, be gentle with one another and sensitive. Forgive one another quickly and thoroughly as God in Christ forgives you. God forgives you for everything that you've done wrong. So if God forgives us, then maybe we should forgive others. It is hard to forgive people. It's hard for Jonah to forgive the people of Nineveh. But just because God forgave them, we also need to forgive them. And just like God forgives us, we also need to forgive other people. But Hero Factory, let's remember that we're not doing this on our own. And forgiveness is hard, but God will always help us.
What's that? Wait, say that again. Oh, right, yeah, that. Well, we hope you enjoyed Kids Church today. Hope you enjoyed that gross story about Jonah. Hopefully Asher's back next week. Do you think he'll be back? Do you think he'll be back? Do you think Asher will be back next week? Let's hope he is, and I hope you're back next week as well.